Hey everybody, here's a little garden update. So basically here we are, almost the middle of November now, and we've had our first kind of cold evening here in North Texas, and as you can see, our Jamaican hibiscus that I've been showing you all summer and in the past, they pretty much have finished. As you can see, there's no more leaves. The pods are all been harvested and picked. These little ones won't grow any further. So, with that first cold, it's starting to kill back the summer plants. So they are done, and we'll be cutting these and pulling them and getting ready for next year, because spring will soon be upon us again. And I'm going to get an early start these from seed, probably like in March, and then in April I can get them out here and they'll have an earlier start, and they'll probably get bigger too than what we did, because we had a late start this year. So the Jamaican hibiscus have done all they can give to us for this year. In the back, of course, it's the kind of the end of a lot of the season. I got a few herbs here on the shade side. This is the shade side of the house, where in summer it gets direct sun, but once it starts to turn fall, there's no more sun here, so it stays in the shade. However, we still got basil and some herbs, so they'll probably grow pretty good here, and some parsley, which will grow all year. We got the remaining basil here too, that's kind of gone to seed, and it'll replant itself. And here we've got some parsley that we planted just to have some fall parsley, and some of the herbs, of course, are still going. Once they get established, they can survive the winters here in Texas. More importantly here, let's take a look at some of the stuff. The flowers, the certain flowers will stay longer, but others, they pretty much had it. The figs, the good thing for us is the fig tree survived that harsh winter we had last year, and it's grown back. And the figs were too late to mature as fast as they always do, so I'll cut back some of the taller branches after the cold hits, and then we'll have it more bushier next year. Over here we're trying to do again some fall crops. Lettuce. This is lettuce season, because in North Texas during the summer it gets too hot, and all this would bolt. I mean, even if it's in the 80s for a couple days, high 80s, which sometimes we tend to have, they'll bolt and you can't get any lettuce. So this type of stuff, Swiss chard and lettuce, is good for the cold season. It'll do pretty good. Some celery here we planted, so we're kind of doing this as kind of keeping the garden going here a little bit longer. See if we can't do a few things in the winter months. Of course, as you see here, the Goji Berries, they're always a late plant. You can see all the berries here, and I don't know if that's normally that they're a late plant, but all in all the years that we've been growing them now, they really come to fruition kind of October, November, rather than a summer or spring. They mostly look just like green, that. So I got to come through here and pick some more of these, because they're really good and healthy for you, and they just take forever to harvest. You'll be here for a long time picking all these individual things out. The raspberries here, of course, are done, and we'll cut back the vines, and I'm going to transplant them out of here. I don't the fence, I can't get behind it, and you can see we had a strong wind come through, broke the fence. I think there's a few fence places we'll have to replace here because of that. But anyways, because of the raspberries, I want to get behind it, and I'm going to move my raspberries here. This has always been my peppers, so this may be berries. This may be just goji berry, raspberry. I got a 360 on it. They're taller, so they're in the back. And then in the front will be the shorter crops and stuff. I got zucchinis and Swiss chard and other types of things. And then I'll be doing adding some raised beds here for the cucumbers and stuff like that. The other thing, which is always the big harvest, if you've watched my videos for a number of years, is the sweet potatoes. And you can see the creepy sweet potato vines have creeped all along here because they go wild. And you can see that they're starting to turn. Some of the leaves are starting to get out of that green now. Basically, when the sweet potatoes are done, when those leaves turn from green to brown. Now, I put them in just slightly, I think, a little bit later this season, so they're still kind of green. I usually pick them a week before Thanksgiving. Not that they're probably going to get any bigger size in a week, because they've had since at least May, June in the ground. But I'll pull these back and harvest them up and see what we get. Sometimes it's big sweet potatoes, sometimes they're little. You never know until you pull them up. Of course, the blackberries here, I got to trim some of these. You know, it's funny that we get a few late blackberries. It's kind of interesting here. I mean, this is November. Late blackberries, like a small second harvest on these. I'm going to eat them because there's not enough to do much with them other than eat them directly off the plant. So they're really good. We'll clean this up. I think next year, sweet potatoes. I mean, you can see once they start to grow and take over, they block my path. I can't get to the garden area. So I think they're going to be best on that back fence there, because that way they can go up, and really I'll try to train them to go over and try to go into that park area there where nobody will mess with them, and it'll give me some more area. I'm grabbing these blackberries. It'll give me some more area to grow them and walk around, because you know, navigation and placement is crucial. Yeah, those blackberries are great. Also, again, these blackberries here, like the raspberries, take up too much space, and you can't get the behind blackberries. Maybe moving the blackberries in the center row will be a little bit helpful, and then I can put stuff on the back there that I can reach into. So, you know, the garden never sleeps. You're always trying to do things a little bit better. Even these little square, I had extra wood when I was building the raised beds, and I'll probably place them somewhere else here and put some stuff in. These woods are a couple years old now, and so they're holding up, but you can see they're starting to show their age. So at some point, you know, you always have to replace your raised beds because the wood won't last forever. But we'll see how a couple more years we get out of that, and like I say, starting some newer, smaller, thinner beds here, because with these frames, these are great for climbing things, be it cucumbers, peas, snap peas, pole beans. You know, it's the big thing in an area like this is weed management. And you know, some parts of the country, you know, you put the mulch on and it probably does a pretty good keeping the weeds out. But you can see already that even with the cardboard, even with the mulch, I still got weeds in that will try to pop up through that. I mean, you know, the grass weeds in Texas are just really tough. So as I start to see that, you got to stay on top of it, and you get the vinegar, right? The strong vinegar solution, and you hit that and kill it. And you could use some weed killer too, because this is just the path area, and it shouldn't affect the plants, you know, going forward. But yeah, you stay on top of that, because well, like I say, I had to put all this new mulch down because it was time to put mulch down. But then the grass and weeds got the best of us because we couldn't stay on top of it this year. So now, as we see it, we'll spray that out, and you would think November, the weather's starting to cooler, that would stop. It doesn't. It's still warm enough days to where those weeds are going to pop up. And you can see this area we haven't put any mulch, because what I'm going to do is put cardboard down and then some raised beds. And not that we couldn't, not that the dirt's not any good, because we've really put a lot of care into it. And so it's really good dirt that can grow, but it's more weed management and sectioning off and controlling what you're growing. You know, I like the back to eat and garden method, which we've been doing, and it's been very successful, and the ground's great. But it's really about the weed management. When it's in a raised bed, you people mostly do it because they have good dirt. They can have good moisture control in that. But for us here, I'm learning a long-term trend that just throwing it in the ground, I can't keep control of the weed management so much and the sprawling of it. When it's here, I can control it better. So I'm going to keep the frames up and just build some smaller, thinner raised beds for cucumbers, because things that grow up don't need a lot of wide space. You know, a foot or 2 foot area to cover these frames, and then I can control the weeds and the watering a little bit better. So that's really what it's about. So anyways, that's a little garden update here for November. In the U.S., the holidays are upon us again. Thanksgiving and Christmas coming quickly behind. Hopefully you will have a happy holidays for you and your family, and maybe you'll still be pulling stuff from the garden so that you can put them on your holiday dinner table. So we'll talk to you again later. See ya. Bye-bye.